seek God daily in His holy word. We are in Matthew chapter 14, 15, and 16, and I will remind everybody that we are reading out of the Interlinear Bible, the Greek literal translation. Yes, I do read every day the King James Version. That's what you are looking at underneath on the screen. But the Lord gave me, I would say, a little knowledge to start to search out the scriptures as far as the Greek translation and the Hebrew translations. So I am sharing that with you all. God bless each and every one of you. We will begin to read Matthew chapter 14. At that time, Herod the Tetrarch heard the fame of Jesus, and he said to his disciples, "This is John the Baptist. He has risen from the dead, and because of this powerful works are working in him. For seizing John, Herod bound him and put him into prison, because of Herodias, the wife of his brother Philip. For John said to him, It is not lawful for you to have her. And desiring to kill him, he feared the multitude, because they held him as a prophet. But a birthday feast for Herod being held, the daughter of Herodias danced in the midst, and pleased Herod. So then he promised with an oath to give her whatever she should ask. But she, being urged on by her mother, she says, Give me here on a platter the head of John the Baptist. And the king was grieved, but because of the oaths and those who had reclined with him, he ordered it to be given. And sending, he beheaded John in the prison. And his head was brought on a platter, and was given to the girl. And she brought it to her mother. And coming, his disciples took the body and buried it. And coming, they reported to Jesus. And hearing, Jesus withdrew from there in a boat into a desert place apart. And hearing, the crowds followed him on foot from the cities. And going out, Jesus saw a great crowd, and was filled with pity toward them. And he healed their infirm ones. And evening coming, his disciples came near to him, saying, The place is desert, and the hour is already gone. Dismiss the crowds, that going away into the villages they may buy provisions for themselves. But Jesus said to them, They have no need to go away. You give them food to eat. But they said to him, We have nothing here except 5 loaves and 2 fish. And he said, Bring them here to me. And commanding the crowds to recline on the grass, and taking the 5 loaves and 2 fish, looking up to heaven, he blessed, and breaking, he gave the loaves to the disciples, and the disciples gave to the crowds. And all ate, and were satisfied. And they took up the leftover pieces, 12 hand baskets full. And the ones eating were about 5,000 men, besides women and children. And immediately Jesus made his disciples get into a boat, and to go before him to the other side until he should dismiss the crowds. And having dismissed the crowds, he went up into the mountain alone to pray. And evening coming on, he was there alone. But the boat was now in the middle of the sea, tossed by the waves, for the wind was contrary. But in the 4th watch of the night, Jesus went out to them, walking on the sea. And seeing him walking on the sea, the disciples were troubled, saying, It is a ghost! And they cried out from the fear. But immediately Jesus spoke to them, saying, Be comforted, I am. Do not fear. And answering him, Peter said, Lord, if it is you, command me to come to you on the waters. And he said, Come. And going down from the boat, Peter walked on the waters to go to Jesus. But seeing the strong wind, he was afraid, and beginning to sink, he cried out, saying, Lord, save me. And immediately, stretching out the hand, Jesus took hold of him, and said to him, Little faith, why did you doubt? And coming into the boat, the wind ceased. And those in the boat came and worshipped him, saying, Truly you are the Son of God. And having passed over, they came to the land of Gennesaret. And recognizing him, the men of that place sent to all that neighborhood, and brought to him all those who had illness, And they begged him that they might touch the fringe of his robe. And as many as touched were made perfectly well. Chapter 15 of Matthew. Then the scribes and Pharisees came to Jesus from Jerusalem, saying, "Why do your disciples transgress the tradition of the elders? For they do not wash their hands when they eat bread." But answering, he said to them, "Why do you also transgress the command of God on account of your tradition? For God commanded, saying, 'Honor your father and mother,' and the one speaking evil of father or mother, by death let him die. But you say, whoever says to the father or the mother, 'A gift, whatever you would gain from me,' and in no way he honors his father or his mother, and you annul the command of God on account of your tradition. Hypocrites! Well, did Isaiah prophesy concerning you, saying, 'This people draws near to me with their mouth, and with their lips honor me, but their heart is far from me. But in vain they worship me, teaching as doctrines the ordinances of men.' And calling near the crowd, he said to them, 'Hear and understand. It is not that which has entered into the mouth that defiles the man, but that which has come out of the mouth. This defiles the man.' Then coming, the disciples said to him, 'You know that hearing the saying, the Pharisees were offended. But answering, he said, Every plant which my heavenly Father has not planted shall be rooted up. Leave them alone. They are blind leaders of the blind. And if the blind lead the blind, both will fall into a pit.' And answering, Peter said to him, 'Explain this parable to us.' But Jesus said, 'Are you also still without understanding? Do you not yet perceive that everything entering into the mouth goes into the belly and is thrown out into the waste bowl? But the things which have come out of the mouth come forth from the heart, and these defile the man. For out of the heart come forth evil thoughts, murders, adulteries, fornications, thefts, lies, blasphemies. These things are the things defiling the man. But eating with unwashed hands does not defile the man." And going out from there, Jesus withdrew to the parts of Tyre and Sidon. And behold, a woman of Canaan coming forth from those borders cried out to him, saying, "Have pity on me, Lord, Son of David. My daughter is vilely demon possessed." But he did not answer her a word. And coming near, his disciples asked him, saying, "Send her away, for she cries out after us." But answering, he said, "I was not sent except to the lost sheep of the house of Israel." But coming, she worshipped him, saying, "Lord, help me." But answering, he said, "It is not good to take the bread of the children and to throw it to the little dogs." But she said, "Yes, Lord, for even the little dogs eat of the crumbs falling from the table of their lords." Then answering, Jesus said to her, "O woman, your faith is great. Let it be to you as you desire." And her daughter was healed from that hour. And moving from there, Jesus came beside the Sea of Galilee, and going up into the mountain, he sat there. And the great crowds came to him, having with them those lame, blind, dumb, maimed, and many others. And they flung them down at the feet of Jesus, and he healed them, so that the crowds marveled, seeing the dumb speaking and the maimed sound, the lame walking and the blind seeing, and they glorified the God of Israel. But having called near his disciples, Jesus said, "I am filled with pity on the crowd, because they already have remained with me 3 days, and have nothing they may eat. And I do not desire to send them away fasting, that they may not faint in the way." And his disciples said to him, "From where in a desert will come to us so many loaves as to satisfy so great a crowd?" And Jesus said to them, "How many loaves do you have?" And they said, 7, and a few small fish. And he ordered the crowds to recline on the ground. And taking the 7 loaves and the fish, giving thanks, he broke and gave to his disciples, and the disciples to the crowd. And all ate, and were satisfied. And they took up the leftover pieces, 7 lunch baskets full. And the ones eating were 4,000 men, besides women and children. And sending away the crowds, he went into the boat and came to the borders of Magdala. Matthew chapter 16. And coming, the Pharisees and Sadducees asked him to show them a sign out of heaven, tempting him. But answering, he said to them, Evening coming on, you say, Clear sky, for the heaven is red. And at morning, Today a storm, for the sky is red, being overcast. Hypocrites, you indeed know how to discern face of the heaven, but you cannot the signs, the times. An evil and adulterous generation seeks a sign, and a sign will not be given to it except the sign of Jonah, the prophet. And leaving them, he went away. And his disciples coming to the other side, they forgot to take loaves. And Jesus said to them, Watch, and beware of the leaven of the Pharisees and Sadducees. And they seasoned among themselves, saying, Because we did not take loaves? And knowing Jesus said to them, Why do you reason among yourselves, because you took no loaves? Little faiths, do you not perceive nor recall the 5 loaves of the 5,000? And how many baskets you took up? Nor the 7 loaves of the 4,000, and how many lunch baskets you took up? How do you not perceive that it was not about loaves that I said to you to take heed from the leaven of the Pharisees and Sadducees? Then they knew that he did not say to take heed from the leaven of bread, but from the teaching of the Pharisees and Sadducees. And coming into the parts of Caesarea of Philip, Jesus questioned his disciples, saying, Whom do men say me to be? The Son of Man? And they said, Some say John the Baptist, and others Elijah, and others Jeremiah, or one of the prophets. He said to them, But you, whom do you say me to be? And answering, Simon Peter said, You are the Christ, the Son of the living God. And answering, Jesus said to him, Blessed are you, Simon, son of Jonah, for flesh and blood did not reveal it to you, but my Father in heaven. And I also say to you that you are Peter, and on this rock I will build my church, and the gates of Hades will not prevail against her. And I will give to you the keys of the kingdom of heaven, and whatever you bind on earth shall occur, having already been bound in heaven, and whatever you may loose on earth shall be, having been already loosed in heaven. Then he warned his disciples that they should tell no one that he is Jesus the Christ. From that time, Jesus began to show to his disciples that it was necessary for him to go away to Jerusalem, and to suffer many things from the elders and chief priests and scribes, and to be killed, and to be raised on the 3rd day. And having taken him near, Peter began to rebuke him, saying, God, be gracious to you, Lord. This shall never be to you. But turning, he said to Peter, Go behind me, Satan. You are an offense to me, for you do not think of the things of God, but the things of men. Then Jesus said to his disciples, If anyone desires to come after me, let him deny himself, and let him bear his cross, and let him follow me. For whoever may desire to save his soul will lose it, but whoever may lose his soul for my sake will find it. For what will a man be benefited if he should gain the whole world but forfeits his soul? Or what will a man give as an exchange for his soul? For the Son of Man is about to come in the glory of his Father with his angels, and then he will give reward to each according to his works. Truly I say to you, there are some standing here who in no way will taste of death until they see the Son of Man coming in his kingdom.